This conference will now be recorded.
This presentation is one of the Blue Heron Academy's presentations for the biomedicine class. And this one specifically is a talk that we do on starting a business, forming a business, what you need for your business, how to be successful in business. We're going to look at this from a number of perspectives. And once again, this is for the Blue Heron Academy. My name is Dr. Gregory Lawton. I'm a licensed chiropractor in the state of Michigan. And also I am a licensed naturopath in the state of Illinois and a licensed acupuncturist in the state of Idaho. I've had several practices over the years. I started practices in different states, different parts of the country, several practices in Michigan, and I've been pretty much successful in all practices and businesses that I've engaged in. So I think I bring something to the table in terms of being able to talk about how to start a business and how to be successful once you've done that. So let's just get into these slides a little bit. First of all, let's talk about really what do you as a student gain by attending the Blue Heron Academy? In other words, what do you walk away from after you have invested X number of dollars and several months of your time in pursuing a particular course or program at the Academy? First of all, you become certified in your vocation, in your profession, whatever that is, whether that is medical massage therapy, personal fitness trainer, holistic healthcare, AcuMyoTherapy, really whatever it may be, you become certified. So we look at this slide here. Number 3 is you graduate from a state approved and a state licensed post-secondary school. So our programs have been approved by the state of Michigan. We've been licensed as a post-secondary school in Michigan for the purpose of certifying you. So your first certification comes from a state approved and state licensed school. So if you are studying medical massage therapy, you become a certified medical massage therapist upon graduation. If you are in the personal fitness training program, you become a certified personal trainer, personal fitness trainer when you graduate from the program. If you're in the holistic health program, then you also become a certified holistic health practitioner at the time that you graduate successfully from your program. So in addition to that, the Academy also offers an avenue for national board certification. Our parent organization, American Health Source, is comprised of several national trade associations, and those trade associations, which you will become members of, offer national board certification exams. And by taking that exam, you become a national board certified healthcare professional, either in medical massage or personal training or in holistic healthcare or in AcuMyoTherapy, whichever field you have decided to advance into. We also have a phlebotomy program as well, and they also take a national board exam. So all of our graduates end up certified by the school. And additionally, they are nationally board certified as well. You can always, number 7 here on the slide, you can advance into higher level training and certification at any point. Our programs at the Academy, from medical massage to personal training, AcuMyoTherapy, holistic healthcare, are all designed to be able to plug into each other so a student can step from one program into another program. Some programs are in effect tiered, or they have several levels. For instance, the medical massage program starts out with the basic introductory program, 750 hours towards state licensure. And then there's the 1,200-hour program, and then there is the Scandinavian mobilization therapy program after that. So many of our programs, they're either designed for you to step from one program to another, such as becoming a medical massage therapist and a personal trainer, or medical massage therapy and holistic healthcare, or personal trainer and massage therapist, whichever way you want to put them together, you can do that. Our national associations also offer a national registry, And once you graduate from the school, you are added to that registry. There's over 8,000 individuals that are currently listed in the registry. And once you're in the registry, if you advance or increase your credentialing, then that's also reflected on the national registry as well. So I do want to say a word that about counseling that's available through the school. We do have a professional career counselor at the school. Her name is Ginny Dussault. She has a master's degree. She is a state licensed professional counselor. She's worked in the field for a number of years, so she's very experienced. And she provides student counseling services, also resume building and writing, interviewing skills for job interviews, how to professionalize yourself. She also finds job listings and she posts those in the school. And she can provide, job and business information to any student at the academy that wishes to avail themselves of that, and we do hope everybody will. You may think you have a good resume, but your resume really needs to be designed for each company, each job that you may be going to. Your experience that may be reflected on a resume not be what a company is looking for. And so Ginny's really good at being able to look at a resume and to help you to craft it in such a way that it'll be more effective when you're out there looking for a job. So since 1980, the Blue Heron Academy has been known really in a number of areas, certainly in medical massage therapy, one of the top medical massage therapy schools in the entire country. We are the first school in the state of Michigan to offer residential training programs in personal training. I personally feel it's very difficult to become a personal trainer in an online program, a strictly online program, that there has to be a residential or hands-on component, and that should be carried out by someone who is well-trained and experienced in the field to be able to provide that training and education. And so I believe that the Academy is well suited for that purpose. We have the most advanced program in holistic healthcare of any school in the state of Michigan, and specifically in that we train our holistic healthcare practitioners to be able to work with patients in the field and to assist them in achieving their healthcare goals. So here are the programs that we have. We have the medical massage therapy program, which is our introductory program for massage therapists leading to state licensure. We have the medical manual therapy program, which we call the 1,200-hour program. That is advanced manual therapy techniques. We have the Scandinavian mobilization therapy program, which is our most advanced and highest program in manual therapy at the Academy. We have the AcuMyoTherapy program, which visits acupressure, shiatsu, Tui Na, Asian herbal medicine, Asian healthcare practices. We have our introductory holistic healthcare program, which looks at diet and nutrition, herbal medicine from a Western viewpoint, so Western herbal medicine, and the various parameters and dimensions of holistic healthcare practice. Our personal fitness trainer program, as I mentioned, is one of the very first programs in the state of Michigan, if not the first program to offer residential training to personal trainers. Prior to this, trainers would go to maybe weekend seminars in Chicago, train for a weekend, take the ACE exam, and become a personal trainer. Very low levels of training and experience. And commonly now you see a lot of people simply getting all of their training online, which for a hands-on profession is probably not the best way to do that. And of course, we offer the phlebotomy program, and we provide phlebotomists to many of the hospitals throughout West Michigan. So this is simply a slide talking about for the Academy of Scandinavian Mobilization Therapy, which is also based at the Blue Heron Academy, and the advanced training that we have in mobilization therapy. So this is directly from our website. Many of you have probably been to the website, but once again, here you can see I'm over here by the educational programs on the left, and I'm kind of circling around them. And this is a list of the programs and certifications that we currently have at the Academy. We actually have more. We're simply not offering them all at this time, but these are our main programs that we are currently conducting, and we're licensed by the state of Michigan to provide to students. Information on the Academy is here if you're interested. And we also have a bookstore. We have e-learning programs right here. These are all links to be able to go to that information if you would like to do that. And that is blueheronacademy.com. So this is the National Board Certification Agency. We certify our exams through biometric certification. And what we do with the exams here is they go to Michigan State University, and they go through their testing stages there through their testing center. And then we offer these exams. As far as I know, the NBCA is one of the few organizations to actually run their exams through an accredited university, a major accredited university. So we think that adds quite a distinction to the examination process that our students undergo. These are some of the organizations over here on the right, some of these logos here. We go down through these, you see some of the different organizations that are involved in the NBCA. So this is the Scandinavian Mobilization Program here. So we offer this program either through weekend seminars or occasionally we'll schedule it in the fall or some other time of year, and we will provide Scandinavian mobilization therapy training over a group of probably at least 12 to 14 different seminars. So since the beginning of the Academy, the inception of the Academy, we've always been an evidence-based school. And can't remember exactly when this group was formed, but when they were formed, we joined them, became a partner with them. And this is the National Working Group on Evidence-Based Healthcare. So let's take a look at the actual course material here in terms of business and forming a business. So here's your choices, basically. You can enter private practice, and many of our graduates do. A number of our graduates will form a group practice together. Some of them are classmates. Some don't go out and join. Some of our graduates from several years ago that have a group practice. The difference between the private practice and the group practice is in the private practice, you're pretty much on your own in practice and responsible for the organization and operation of your own practice. A group practice, you're sharing responsibilities and overhead with other individuals. A little bit of a warning on a group practice, and not a warning in terms of don't do it, because there's a lot of advantages and benefits that come from practicing with other people, such as sharing of expenses. But it's very important to get a very clear and written contract that is, that outlines everybody's responsibilities. For instance, is everybody on the lease? Is everybody responsible for the lease and for the rent payments? Who's going to pay the phone bill? Who's responsible for paying different bills in the practice, like utilities, things like this, and other expenses? How do those bills get paid? For instance, if the group is using a linen service to provide linens or other supplies to the practice, who's responsible? How does that get deducted? Or how does that get contributed to by the members of the group? Very important that all of this is ironed out in black and white, in a contract, in writing, that everybody dates and signs the agreement. One of the biggest failings that I see in group practices is in the beginning of a relationship. It's kind of like when you're dating or a marriage. Everything is wonderful and everything is great, and then things go along and people have fallings outs or disagreements with each other, and things don't go well, and then somebody walks away. And oftentimes, maybe a single individual signed the lease. They're on the hook for the phone bill and other utilities, and all of a sudden everybody else decides they don't want to be there anymore, and that person is left behind having to cover all of those expenses. So once again, have a contract. People that are honest, people that are actually truly committed to each other and are rooting for each other's success will have no problem at all signing a contract. Your other option is employment. And at many levels, our Blue Heron Academy graduates are in high demand. We cannot train enough medical massage therapists to fill the current demand in our area or across the state, because we get requests from people even on the east side of the state looking for Blue Heron Academy graduates. They like our medical massage graduates because they're trained to work clinically and medically. And many other graduates of massage schools trained in therapeutic massage really don't know how to treat any patient conditions. So various employers that are coming from a medical or clinical or a chiropractic perspective very much like a Blue Heron Academy graduate. So no matter where it is, I mean, even in terms of the personal training program, our graduates are in very high demand because they're trained residentially and they have excellent skill sets. So with the holistic health program, there's not a lot of employment in that field. There are a few holistic health centers. Mainly holistic health care is either private practice or you're adding it onto something that you're already doing. For example, maybe you're already a medical massage therapist or you're involved in some other healthcare field. And so you're adding holistic healthcare to that. So those are your three choices there: private practice, a group practice, or employment. And the other choices are where you're going to practice. And one option is to practice in a rural area. There are several scenarios where rural practice is very attractive, very enticing. And some of the most successful graduates that we have from the academy have rural practices. And chances are they're in an area, they may be the only one in their profession: holistic healthcare, personal training, medical massage, and they're filling a very important need in their community, and they're doing well and they're very successful. So rural practice is really one way to choose to go. It was the second choice that I made in my career. My first practice was in Chicago. It was in a 60-year-old practice, and I mean, you had to try hard to fail, because I had an older therapist that was providing me with patients. Of course, it's a high population density area, so I had no shortage of phone calls and patients and requests to get appointments in the city practice. But then I went to Ludington, Michigan after that, and at that time, Ludington's winter population was about 8,000 people. In the summer, it went up to over 30,000. With all of the people coming up to their cottages out of Chicago and other areas. But I didn't see that many vacationers or people that were just there part-time. Most of my patients were people that had lived there year-round, and they were farmers or other kinds of people that were doing labor, things like this, and they were mostly my patients. So you have your choice of a rural practice, a city practice. In a place like Chicago, you can literally practice 24/7. You've got millions of people there in a metropolitan area. They work different shifts. It was not infrequent that I would be in my practice 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night, and I would get a call from somebody telling me they were downtown Chicago, coming home on the L train. Would I wait for them? And I did. I would schedule them in, and I would see them, and maybe I would get home at 10 o'clock at night. And I had started out very early in the morning, probably on my way to my office by 7 o'clock. So long day. But city practices are pretty easy, simply because of the demographics. There are so many people there, and very small areas, and so it's a great place to have a practice. I have many friends and associates that practice in large metropolitan areas, and their gross revenue runs between 300 and some $1,000 a year and $1 million a year. That's gross revenue. That's not net. But okay, so rural, city, corporate practices. I've done this as well. So I really have done all three of these. So I have personal experience to speak about all of them. I have graduates that are doing corporate practices, and this is basically what they've done is they have signed a contract with a corporation to provide, for instance, massage services, acupuncture, personal training, wellness, diet, nutrition to corporate employees. And a lot of companies like having these benefit packages in place for their employees. It attracts good people to their companies. Employees appreciate it. They utilize it, and it also helps to lower the company's healthcare costs because they have healthier employees. So we've got rural, city, and corporate type practices. Now, there's nothing that says you can't do all three. For instance, maybe you live in Grand Rapids, and you have a practice in Grand Rapids, and you put another one in Lowell or maybe in Sparta or someplace like that. So you can do both rural, or you can drive farther if you want to. Maybe you have a cottage up in Ludington, so your main practice is in Grand Rapids, and you also have a practice in Ludington, which, by the way, allows you to deduct your trip to Ludington when you go to your cottage. Again, nothing saying you can't do a rural practice, a city practice, and a corporate practice. You can have your private practice or your group practice, and they can also contract with corporations to treat their employees. So all of these are viable and available to you in terms of your practice choices. So where do we start in all of this? I mean, these are great ideas about things that we might be wanting to do in terms of our practice, but really, where do we start? So I usually say the first place to start is to think, really, why are you doing this? Why do you want to be a personal trainer? Why did you decide to pursue that field? Why did you decide to go into holistic healthcare? Why did you decide to become a medical massage therapist? Really, why did you decide to do that? So the first thing you want to do is kind of have a talk with yourself and figure out why I'm doing this, and write down your mission statement. And your mission statement really doesn't need to be more than one sentence. And for everything I'm about to suggest, I'm going to suggest that it's on a piece of paper, one piece of paper, and that it's done in pencil. So you can erase, you can change, whatever, at any point in time. When I developed my concept regarding what I wanted to do, and I came into manual therapy and holistic healthcare and herbal medicine and all of the things that I do, I came into this because I wanted to find a better way to serve humanity than what I was doing. In other words, I wanted to make a major career change early in my life. And I decided that basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to help people in terms of their health care. I saw that there was a big need and that it was a growing need. And so my mission statement basically was I just wanted to kind of help people in terms of understanding their choices and choices that they can make and things that they can do in order to improve their overall health. So once again, pencil, piece of paper, one sentence will get you there. Second is develop a business plan. And really when we talk about this one, people all of a sudden, oh no, I have to write a business plan. And really what we're saying with this is, once again, it's that same piece of paper. You just wrote a one sentence mission statement regarding why am I doing this? And number two is, my business plan. And the business plan should also be on that same piece of paper and in pencil. And it should be as brief, short, as outlined as it can possibly be. And in it, you just kind of outline who, what, where, when, what kind of thing. Meaning that, okay, am I going to do this alone or am I going to do this with other people? That's your private practice or your group practice. Am I going to do this for patients or am I going to do this for corporations? So you're kind of defining really, who's going to do it. and who you're going to do it for. Okay, so the easy answer here is I'm going to do this myself, and I'm going to try to get patients, and I'm going to work with these patients, and I'm going to do personal training, holistic healthcare, massage therapy. Maybe I'm going to do all three of these things, and working with them. So I'm going to write that out because now I know who's going to do it. Okay. Now the next one is, what am I going to do? So now I just list my services, and almost this list of services almost becomes like a menu. Like you would see, for instance, you walk into a salon, they may have a menu, or they may have a menu of services on their website or something like that. And so, or personal trainers will have a list of things that they do. They do functional training, they do one-on-one, they do groups, they do group exercise program, whatever it is. So now you're kind of listing, what it is you're doing. If it's massage therapy, you're doing medical massage primarily, then you're going to write that down. But again, this doesn't have to be. Unless you're going to be doing a lot of things. Maybe you are all three. Maybe you are a medical massage therapist, licensed massage therapist in the state of Michigan, and maybe you are a nationally board certified personal trainer, and maybe you are a nationally board certified holistic health practitioner. So you can do all of these. So you're probably going to have a little bit bigger menu and list of the services that you're going to do. So now you know who's going to do it, and you know what you're going to do or try to do. The next thing you want to know is, where am I going to do it? So now you got to think a little bit about the environment that you want to be in. What's that environment going to be like? Are you going to be in a strip mall? Are you going to be in some type of a commercial building? Are you going to do this in a health club, renting space? Are you going to be in a clinic? Are you going to join some other group? Maybe not as a partner, but renting space from some other group that's related and maybe kind of similar to the things that you're doing, but different, so that you bring something different to that group. There are many ways to look at this in terms of what that's going to, what you need. What I did is this. One is, for instance, whenever I opened a Blue Heron Academy, at one point I had 8 state licensed schools operating out of 16 different facilities. Because wherever we were, we had a medical massage building, and we also had a personal training building. And so you had everywhere we had a school, we actually had 2 different locations for the school. And so what I always did is I always picked an area that was very close to a highway interchange, or gathering points, close to a highway interchange and close to a major mall or something like that, that tended to bring people to the particular area. What I didn't want to do is to be at the end of the earth somewhere, way at the end of some road where people had to go way out of their way to get there. I wanted to be somewhere that was centrally located and easy. That was my first rule. My second rule was that if possible, I wanted to jump on somebody else's what's called goodwill. Goodwill means that you're jumping on their client base or their customer base. For example, one practice that I had, I put it inside of a very large health food store. That was the health food store that people drove to from an hour to 3 hours away to go to. And my practice was right inside the health food store. I've also had practices inside of major health fitness facilities. Or one of my first practices, actually was the second practice, and it was in Ludington. I put it in a medical arts building across the door from the pharmacy and right next to one of the most successful, popular MDs in town. And I shared a wall with the guy, basically. There was my door, and there was his door, and there was only, like 1 foot that separated the 2 doors. So if you can jump on somebody else's business that has a well-established business, that is a very good thing to do in terms of where. What you don't want to do is pick an area where you just picked it because it was affordable. Because it may be affordable, this month, maybe money's tight, maybe affordable in the beginning, but it may actually become unaffordable because nobody sees you, nobody knows you're there, and nobody's coming to you. So you don't want to do that. So again, two things is high visibility. You know, they say in marketing, location, location, location. It is actually very important. You can easily bury yourself someplace, and that can actually kill your practice. So you don't want to do that. So the other thing is, so now you know who's going to do it. You know really what you're going to do, and that's very important for this next conversation. And you know where you want to do it. Okay. So if I know what I'm going to do, then I need what I'm going to need, or excuse me, then I know what I'm going to need. And so if I'm a massage therapist, then I need a massage table, obviously, and I need other kind of equipment and gear. And for those of you that have been in the BHA clinic, you know that we have tables and we have, a storage stand where we can put things in. We have stools. We have lighting. We have infrared lamps. We have thermophores. In other words, we have therapeutic modalities, and that involves equipment and that involves supplies. So in your business plan, you're going to make a list of that, and what you're going to do is you're going to keep track of what that kind of material is going to cost for your practice, because that's going to help you draw up a budget here. And it's going to give you an idea of really what you need in terms of money to get going in your practice. So now you know all of these things. You know who's going to do it. You know what you're going to do. You know where you're going to do it, and you know what you need in order to be able to do it. Now, at this point, what we do is we basically plan out a budget, and we use a technique called zero-based budgeting. Once again, that's zero, that's Z-E-R-O, like nothing, zero-based budgeting. So what we do is we list what it's going to cost to do everything we're going to do. In other words, what do we have to buy in order to be there, to be able to offer services, and what's that going to cost us, and what's rent going to cost, and what are phone and utilities and all of that going to cost, and then what other costs there are, including paying yourself. And so all of those costs, every single cost there is, postage, you name it, whatever you're going to be doing, advertising, a website, if you're going to put up a website, all of these different kinds of things, everything goes into the cost thing. Once you know what it's going to cost, then you have an idea between your fixed costs and your variable costs. Fixed costs, rent. So things that you have to pay, they're pretty much unchangeable. You got to pay it every single month. I mean, even your utilities, your electric bill, if you're paying that, even though it varies depending on the time of year, it's still always have to pay an electric bill. And what you can do is you can average out per month what that's going to cost. And those really become your fixed cost. Your variable costs may be things like supplies, because that's dependent upon how many people you treat, what treatments you do, and how much of these different supplies that you may be using. So you have your variable costs and you have your fixed costs. But all of this all totals up. And now we know from zero costs all the way up to what everything costs, we know what it's going to cost us per month, and now we know what we're going to have to earn. And if we have developed a rate sheet for the various services that we're providing, in other words, what is our fee schedule for the services that we are providing, now we know, if we take that, how many people that we have to treat per day, per week, per month, at a certain level, in order to make enough money to be able to break even, but you haven't paid yourself yet, and you're probably going to want to be paid. So you have to, what you are now able to do is determine how many patients do I need per day, per week, per month in order to make a living doing this, basically. So that is all part of our thinking in terms of developing a business plan. It can easily be done on a piece of paper with a pencil. This doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, if you want to do a more formal business plan, how to do those is all over the internet. And you'd only do that if you're planning on going to the bank because you want to borrow money. And so they're asking for your business plan, all your personal financials, your tax records for 3 years, etc. and they want to know if you have any collateral. And if you don't have any collateral, don't bother to go to the bank because they're not going to give you any money. So here, let's take a look at the sad part of this, why some people fail. I'll tell you, I don't see it on here, but I'm going to tell you that the main reason is they quit. That's the main reason. Successful people don't quit. They continued on. I mean, I might have failed if I had quit, but I didn't quit. So why do businesses fail? And this is where I tell students that it really doesn't matter, what type of business you are in. You could be a hamburger franchise, could be an Arby's. And if you don't have certain skill sets, then you're not going to be successful no matter what you do. So whether it's massage, whether it's personal training, whether it's holistic healthcare, there are certain skill sets, certain attributes that individuals in business have to have, whether they are in private practice or business, whether they are, in a group practice, whether they're writing contracts with corporations to provide services. It really doesn't matter, because if you don't have these certain skills, you're just not going to succeed. And the first one, I think, is, and this is often people that I run into that have very grandiose ideas and very high hopes for themselves, which there's nothing wrong with having high hopes for oneself and confidence. But if you don't have any business skills and you are disorganized, that's probably not going to work well for you. The number of people that I have talked to over the years that have a concept that they're going to go out, they're going to, in many cases, they were going to buy a building, and they were going to set up some type of a clinic or a center of some kind. They're borrowing the money to do it, and they didn't have enough money to make it past the first month, but they were absolutely certain they'd get enough business the first month that they could pay for the second month. On average, to be successful in business, and I'm not saying that you won't make any money before this, but to be successful, you're looking at a line between 3 to 5 years to really build a very well-established business, 3 to 5 years. So, and then once again, I didn't say you wouldn't make any money up until then. I just said that you probably wouldn't get to a point of solid success in your business in anything under 3 years. So disorganization is one reason why people fail. That ties right into poor planning. They don't plan well. They don't think they don't think out the circumstances the way I'm outlining for you in this presentation. They're underfunded. They don't have enough money to begin with. And based on their unrealistic expectations that I'll start this, this week, and by next week I'll have enough money to pay the rent. And that is very rare that anything like that's going to happen. So unrealistic expectations, easily discouraged, often easily discouraged, and you can't do that in business. You can't quit. You have to be determined. If you start something, finish what you start. So a lack of commitment to what they're doing, to their plan. This is surprising because people will, start something, they'll put a great deal of effort into it and a great deal of money, but they can't show up for work, or they can't show up on time. And so if you're an individual that can't ever seem to get anywhere on time and gives yourself excuses for why you shouldn't have to show up for work today or something like that, you're probably not going to do well. You'd be better off as an employee and hope that they tolerate you showing up late consistently. Bad location, really mentioned that already. In terms of business planning, that can be the death of your business, just choosing the wrong location to begin with. If you choose the right location, it can give it can supercharge the start of your practice because you're jumping on somebody else's name recognition and branding. Poor marketing. This happens to a lot of people in alternative healthcare or holistic healthcare. They use buzzwords that they're familiar with, but the general public isn't. And they think they're marketing to themselves, and actually you're marketing to a consumer, and you're trying to speak the consumer's language regarding, what are they looking for? What does the consumer want? Do they want to hear that you are certified in some esoteric technique that they've never heard of before? Or are they hoping that you'll help them so that they can lift up their grandkids? Or they can carry a grocery bag from the grocery store to their car, to their house. So again, being able to communicate properly. Poor marketing. For example, poor marketing. Yellow Pages has always been, for many, many years, just an example of poor marketing and a waste of money, especially at this time. I don't know that anybody's using phone books anymore or even bothering to look up much on the Yellow Pages. They do it a little bit in rural areas, so you might want to pay attention to that a little bit, but mostly it's just a waste of money. Bad money management. If you cannot manage your money, if you overdraw your bank account, if you don't pay your bills on time, if you like to reward yourself, if you get money and go out to the mall and buy yourself a bunch of stuff before you pay your bills, you might want to reconsider whether or not you should be in business, because business takes a lot of personal and professional discipline in terms of money management. You got to pay everybody else before you pay yourself. The other part of this, in terms of why businesses fail, is that the people that are behind the businesses are isolating themselves. And really, success in business is about communication, and it's about building relationships on many different levels. And to isolate yourself somewhere in a bad location with poor marketing and communication is really, these are all three of those are pretty much guaranteed recipes for failure. So the qualities for success really are the opposite of what I just said. So we look at this list here, we talk about a mission statement. Why are you doing this? Because believe me, I'm going to tell you at some time, money's going to be tight, things are going to be very difficult, and you're going to say, why did I do this? So having a good mission statement that you can go back to and say, oh yeah, I wanted to help people, and I still do. And so I think I'll continue doing this. Okay. Good planning, again, your business plan and making your lists. That's very helpful. Number 3 here is not numbered, but it's sufficient funding. And I wish I'd had that, but I can tell you that I never did. And so if you do, great. Life will be a little bit easier for you. At any rate, this is the deal about owning your own business, is there's nothing better. There are a lot of us that simply cannot work for other people. I'm one of those people. But it is also very difficult to have your own business. But I would rather have my own business and have difficulties than to ever work for anyone else. I worked for other people for quite a number of years and at very high levels, executive levels. And what I found is that most of the people that I worked for had what I call the 3 negative motivators. First of all, they were greedy. Money was more important than anything, certainly more important than people. Any way they could get it. The next is they had really unhealthy need of power and control and manipulation of other people. And there's a very unattractive quality in anyone to want to manipulate people, bully people. And yet there's a lot of that out there. And maybe some of you are thinking right now that you've worked for some of those people. The third negative motivator is a strong personal need for recognition, to have your ego massaged, basically. And so when you get people that have the 3 negative motivators, maybe they only have 1, maybe they have 2, maybe they have all 3. And all 3 is not good. You don't want to work for those people. So you don't want somebody that's greedy. You don't want somebody that wants to bully, manipulate, control other people. And you don't want somebody that has a need for recognition where everything's about them and about themselves. You don't want to work for those kind of people. I think of the 3 negative motivators, the worst one is the bully that wants to manipulate and control other people. So at any rate, so sufficient funding is good. Realistic expectations, again, owning your own practice or being in a group practice is very difficult. There's just no way around that. I wouldn't be telling you the truth if I didn't tell you that. You have to expect difficulties and hardships and challenges, and you have to be able to be strong enough to persevere through these things. I personally have survived, I guess I am now in my 7th recession, and have managed to make it through all of them. One of them, by the way, is when I started a rural practice up in Ludington. That was another major recession with very, very high levels of unemployment, low levels of income. People were really struggling, and I still managed to build a successful practice in a rural area. So again, realistic expectations. This isn't going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in the first month. It's going to take months and years. But you're building your own future. You're building your own business. You control it, and you're building your future for yourself and for your family. So it's certainly worth it. That does take a strong commitment and motivation. You just can't be a quitter. You can't be someone when things get difficult that you decide that it's time to walk away. Good work ethic. I get up very early in the morning. I would be in my practice no later than 7 a.m., getting the office, cleaned, organized, the treatment rooms ready for patients, different modalities turned on, heat lamps turned on low and starting to warm up. So a good work ethic. My focus, because my mission statement was to help people, I was there to help them. So if I was in my office half a day on a Saturday, ready to go home at noon for lunch, and somebody called me from, say, Grand Haven, and wanted to come over and get a treatment, they could be there at 2. I waited for them and I treated them. So a good work ethic, good location. And again, I kind of explained my formula. You want high visibility, and you want to jump on somebody else's goodwill whenever possible. Your marketing should be able to reflect what people want. The number one reason that people will seek healthcare is, number one, is function. They're having trouble functioning. They can't walk anymore. They can't do hiking like they want to do. There's certain things they can't do. They can't play tennis, whatever it may be. They can't pick up their grandkids. They can't carry groceries into their house, etc. The number 2 reason is people have pain. Number 3 reason is people are concerned about their personal health and well-being, maybe have cardiac issues, maybe breathing difficulties or respiratory problems, diabetes, obesity, you name it, there's a whole list. And so you have to be able to talk to people about the things that they are concerned about in your marketing, to communicate with them. So when you do that, then people will pay attention to that. And then they will hopefully contact you and make an appointment, and you'll be able to help them. Good money management. You have to put your business first for many years, and your personal needs second. Maybe you're putting off buying that new home or that larger house. You're putting off that new car for a couple more years. Whatever it is, you have to have good money management so that you have cash flow, so you can pay your bills and continue to operate your business. On the negative side, on that last slide, we talked about the fact that what we really needed or not to do was to be in isolation. And so I talked about a little bit about the fact that we need to network, we need to communicate, we need to be in contact with people, but we also need to develop our own support network of associates and successful professionals. And what I did is I connected with a number of physicians, doctors in various disciplines, and developed friendships with them and educated them about what I did, who I treated and kinds of things that I did. And I got referrals from that. Also, developing the support network too. When maybe you get a little depressed and things are a little bit challenging, you can talk to someone. Maybe they have a role with you as a mentor. They can give you some financial advice. Maybe they say the right thing at the right time, and that gives you the strength to continue on. Or maybe you're having some problems with a patient or with a client, either in a personal training business or in a medical massage practice or holistic healthcare practice, and you need to talk to somebody about that. So that's another reason why we have these support networks, and we make sure that we are connected to our community of professionals. So other qualities for success. So what I always did, and I still do it periodically, is study and learn from your competition. Don't do what they're doing wrong, and emulate what they're doing right, but do it better. And as we look at this next suggestion, undercut your competition's prices. So you study, you basically do a market survey, you look at what everybody's doing, what is everybody charging, what are they doing well, what seems to make them successful, copy those things and do it for less money. Do it better and do it for less money. Offer more and better services than your competition is. One of the ways that I did that is in my practice of manual therapy, I would treat people and I would have my therapeutic modalities like infrared or thermophore or whatever, and I would do those treatments, and I didn't charge for them. So I was offering more and better services than my competition was. Always pursue continuing education, add new, I'm going to say the word products, but what I really mean skills to your practice. Keep adding things to your practice to improve yourself and to continue growing so that you don't plateau or atrophy in your practice. Improve your services. As you become successful over time, progressively increase your prices or your fees. Now, here I said undercut your competitors' prices, and here I'm saying, yeah, but as you start to succeed and become more and more well-known and more in demand, progressively increase your prices. Now, when you do this, I will guarantee you there will be some people, some of your older patients won't think you're worth the extra money. And you have a choice. You can continue to treat them at less money. Some of you may want to. Other ones you may choose not to. You just let them go. You let them go because you know now that you're going to have, that phone's going to ring and you're going to get a new patient to step into their time slot who's going to pay you more money. And you do deserve to make more money, and you will have to make more money because your rent's going to go up every year, utilities are going to go up every year, your costs for everything that you do are going to go up every year. If you don't give yourself a raise, you're simply going to make less and less money every year. So again, add services and products, at least every year. Every several months, announce those products, put that on your Facebook page, put it on your website, put posters up or whatever, send out flyers, send out emails, constant contact, whatever it is you do about your new services and your products that you're providing. And this is a way to add and to build revenue sources within your practice. If you're someone where all your money is coming from face-to-face, in other words, all your money is coming from time with a patient or time with a client, then you're limited by your time. And a way to break out of that trap or constraints is to have different products that bring in different revenue streams into your business. So that could be selling herbs, it could be selling supplements, it could be selling equipment, it could be selling clothing, anything like that you can bring into your practice to develop a revenue stream that is not totally reliant upon you using your hands as a massage therapist, or you're using, your mouth and brain as a holistic healthcare practitioner, or using, your body and your skills and your mind and your brains as a personal trainer. Anything that gets you out of that, I only make money per hour kind of box that we put ourselves in by adding products and services. It's a really good idea. So build multiple revenue streams into your practice. Once again, we repeat, maintain a professional support network communication system, and communicate with those people, because that is also part of your referral network. In other words, they can refer people to you. And so, go out, have breakfast with a doctor occasionally or some other contact, and just buy them breakfast, talk to them about what you're doing, listen to what they're doing, what they have to say, and just develop that relationship. Something else that I thought of many, many years ago is that what I wanted to do is have as much income coming into the business as possible with a minimum amount of overhead. You know, you can make a lot of money, but if you're spending it all in your business, it's not going to you or to your family. So the idea is maximize your income through the suggestions that I've made up here and minimize your overhead. You know, that extra expensive office or that building that you bought, that doesn't feed your family or send your kids to college. So be real careful in terms of not overextending yourself in terms of overhead. Plus, when bad times happen, and they do, our economy is on a cycle. It goes up and it comes down. When it comes down, if you have maximized your overhead and overextended yourself, you're not going to last. So you're going to have serious problems. So keep that little adage here: maximum income, minimum overhead. Don't let your ego get in the way of your financial sense. So these are some other qualities for success that I developed over the years and instituted in my practice. First of all, always give something away. And I have several examples of how I do that. For instance, I've written a bunch of books. I got about 30 of them that are free. I just give them away. The other ones I charge for. And so that's something I give away. The other thing I give away is I give away training classes and time with different groups. And I've always served special needs groups, minority groups, worked with youth, troubled youth, refugees, you know, and number of different things over the last 40 some years. I've always made sure that I give time and, you know, energy and skills away. The other thing I've always done to give away is I don't charge for children, and I consider children anyone under the age of 15. So anyone under the age of 15, I do not charge for in terms of treatment. I do not charge for anyone with a terminal illness. So anybody that is terminally ill, could be cancer, but anything where there's a terminal diagnosis, I do not charge to treat them. Never have. So don't charge for everything you do. So if you're giving something away, you're not charging for everything that you do. Always give something away. Maintain a high level of integrity, because this is how you will become known in your community, and whether, you know, determining whether or not you can be trusted. So maintain a high level of integrity in your community. Focus on the service that you're providing to people, not the money. Focus on the service, and the money will follow. You don't have to worry about it. Now, I'm not saying be an idiot about money. What I'm saying is, if you focus on the service and you do all the other things I said, which means, you know, when I talked about being responsible in terms of your money, but in other words, every patient that comes in doesn't look like a dollar sign to you. And every patient that comes in isn't you thinking, how much money can I get out of this person? So focus on the services. What does the patient need? You know, what do they need in terms of consultation? What do they need in terms of treatment? What do they need in terms of training? Focus on that, helping and serving people, and the money will follow. That is also maintaining a high level of integrity, and your reputation will build, and you will get more referrals, and your business will grow. That's how all of that works together. But it starts with not thinking about the money. Focus on the service. Focus on the people that you are serving. That comes first. And have we said this yet? Maintain a professional support network. I think we said it 3 times now. That is a very important, critical part of the success process. So your business organization, this is really, when we start talking about business, what most people wish I had started with, actually. I got to tell you, this isn't the part that makes you successful. This is just part of what you have to do to get organized. Everything that I've said before this is really what will make a person successful or not. So this is the nuts and bolts, right? So form a corporation. So you want to be a corporation. And the reason you want to be a corporation is because you cannot be personally sued if you're a corporation. If somebody wants to sue you, they have to sue the corporation, whatever the corporation's assets are, and you're not personally sued, so they can't take your house, they can't take your car, they can't take your trust fund, they can't take your bank account, they can't touch you personally, okay? Think of the cigarette companies. If we could sue every corporate president, vice president, you know, but we can't. You can't get to them because they're protected by a corporation. You can sue the corporation, you cannot sue the individuals that are working for the corporation. So you want to form a corporation. The most common one now that my graduates are forming is the LLC. It's a very good form of corporation and probably one of the best for most people. But you might want to talk to your attorney, or you might want to talk to a CPA. Don't have your attorney form the corporation for you because they charge too much. You can simply go to the state website, any state you're in, or if you're in the state of Michigan, go to the state website and just form your corporation right online. All you really need to know is the name. They have a search feature. Put your name in for the corporation, search it, see if it's okay, if it's available. If it is, then form your corporation. I don't remember the cost. When I was forming mine, it was something like $35. It's probably twice that now. But you go to the state website, you form your corporation. I personally have about 8, and one's an LLC. A couple of them are nonprofits. One is a C Corp and another one's an S Corp. So the idea behind the C Corp is your standard corporation, and there's a fixed tax liability, annual business tax liability for a C Corp. I chose the S Corp for the Blue Heron Academy because I pay taxes based on my personal income, and I don't take a lot of money out. So I'm not making that much money. I'm not in a very high tax bracket. And so as a result of that, I pay lower taxes for the corporation. That's the idea behind the S Corp. But again, almost all the graduates that I've had in the last few years have all formed a limited liability corporation, which is the LLC. But again, you can have a conversation with your tax person or your CPA or your attorney. They're more expensive, and decide which one of these corporations you want to do. Again, it provides you with legal protection. It significantly expands your tax deductions. Really, what I would recommend against is being a sole proprietor. That's where many people make a really big mistake in terms of getting organized, is they don't want to go through the trouble of a corporation, so they're a sole proprietor. They don't open a separate bank account. They use their personal account. They mix their personal and their business funds together. And when they file their taxes, they do a Schedule C form to basically to list their business expenses. Problem with that is that Schedule Cs are what trigger most audits, most IRS audits. Also, sole proprietor can be personally sued. So they just open themselves up, their possessions, any money they have, their bank accounts, etc. Their family funds. They've opened that up to liability for a lawsuit. So there's a lot of things wrong with being a sole proprietor. Do not do it. Do not be a sole proprietor. Form one of these corporations. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your assets. The next thing on the list here is the DBA, and that is doing business as. In other words, it's an assumed name. So the corporation for the Blue Heron Academy, which is an S Corp, is Medical Massage Inc. The assumed name is Blue Heron Academy of Healing Arts and Sciences. So there's a reason for that. And this is something you have to understand. I did many, many years ago, and I did understanding that not all businesses succeed, and sometimes you get in trouble. And so all business liabilities, contracts, leases, anything that the school owes in terms of money is in the name of Medical Massage Inc. Blue Heron Academy of Healing Arts and Sciences is a DBA, and there's nothing. There's no liabilities at all in the name of Blue Heron Academy of Healing Arts and Sciences. So let's say we entered a time period where the economy was crashing. Things were very, very difficult. I can't imagine that ever happening. But let's just say that it did. And you can't pay your bills. What you do is you do a business bankruptcy, not a personal bankruptcy. This has no effect on your credit rating. You do a business bankruptcy. You basically get rid of the corporation, like Medical Massage Inc., and you form a new corporation that's clean, that has no liabilities, no contracts, nothing whatsoever. Renegotiate your rent or whatever you want to do, and the DBA is transferred to the new corporation. New corporation, as I said, has no liabilities at all. All your previous liabilities were all discharged under bankruptcy. So that's something to think about, guys, especially when you're going into a business where you get a lease. Maybe your lease is, a couple $1,000 a month. That would be a small suite. And that's $24,000 a year on a 3 to 5 year commercial lease. That's basically, let's say $24,000 a year, $2,000 a month. And so that's $24,000. That's almost $75,000 over a 3 year period, or almost $125,000 over a 5 year period. So that's a lot of money on a contract that you have to pay. So definitely think about what I said in terms of how to form a corporation and then do a DBA. Your federal tax ID number, that's your identity number. You don't use your social security number when you file your business taxes. So the federal tax ID number, you can go straight to the IRS website, irs.gov, or you can go to your local bank and they can help you apply for your federal tax ID number. They'll do that when you open your bank account anyway. Okay, so you need a bank account. I do recommend banking locally. I think local banks are actually stronger when things get difficult, and I think local banks are more likely to help local businesses that have established a relationship with them than large corporate banks that are basically national. But choose whatever bank you want. Trademark, you may have come up with some idea, concept, name that you want to trademark that. This is a federal trademark. You'll need a trademark attorney in order to be able to register that trademark. Blue Heron Academy is a federal trademark. Credit cards, that's all. You can get that through your local bank. There are several other merchant services that you can go to get credit cards. And again, your local bank can provide this. Really what you're looking for is the lowest rate to get a credit card. So the lowest charge rate, because every time you do a transaction, the company that's processing this and putting that money in your bank is charging you a fee of several percent. And so you want to get the best deal you can get on credit cards. It really doesn't matter who's processing that. It's really a matter of who's got the best deal for you. Business and malpractice liability insurance is very important. You can get that through your national associations, or you can go to your local insurance carrier, whoever that may be, and they can probably provide that to you as well. Let's see here. So business operations, again, first of all, stay legal. Do the things that are within your scope of practice that you know that you can do. Don't stray from that. For those of you that are working with patients, whether holistic healthcare or medical massage, never diagnose. That is a big way to get in trouble. If you ever write down in your notes that the patient has a certain disease or disorder, always cite the diagnosis from a doctor, or say that the patient told me the doctor said this, or the patient said Dr. White or Dr. Black, Dr. Red, Dr. Brown, Dr. whatever Dr. So-and-so said. Basically, this is their diagnosis. Always cite it to a doctor. Never write it down as if it came from you. Maintain your association membership. That's your lifeline to your national board insurance and to your professional image. Also, It attaches to your malpractice insurance, so where malpractice insurance is available for you. That is specialized insurance for the skills that you have been taught through the Blue Heron Academy. Maintain contact with your association. Don't lose contact. If you get married, change your last name. Make sure that we know that. Your association knows that. If you change your email address, make sure your association knows that. If you move, make sure your association knows that. If you change your cell phone number, make sure your association knows that, because we can't get to you and give you critical information if we don't have your contact information. Monitor state legislative and legal activities. That's what your association does for you, but you should keep your eye on it as well. For instance, with massage therapy, we still have almost, well, I don't think it's weekly anymore, but at least monthly, we still have somebody contacting us as a massage therapist. They've been out there working for years, and they just found out that day that there was a massage licensure law. So there are people that are out there, they're working, they're not paying any attention to what's going on around them in terms of their profession or with legislation that affects them in their practice. And that can come back to harm you if you're out there practicing in a way that's illegal. So monitor state legislative and legal activities, keep in contact with your association, very important. Maintain your professional support network. That's the fourth time, I guess, that has now been said. Okay. So in terms of materials that you need, first of all, I want to say this: don't buy anything, don't spend any money on anything to put in your office if it's cheaper to have it done elsewhere. In other words, don't buy a copy machine if it's cheaper to actually go to Staples and have copies made. If you're not doing that many copies, then why have a copy machine and all the costs of ink and maintenance and everything else that goes with it? So don't do that. Your marketing materials, I recommend Vistaprint as being one of the most economical places to be able to get things. Your patient forms, all of you have form packets that are on your student flash drives. There are forms on there, different types of forms, and you can develop, you can revise those, you can edit those, you can personalize those to your practice or your business, but have patient forms. Have patients use self-reporting forms. A self-reporting form is when they're telling you what's wrong with them. You're not writing down what you think is, which would be diagnosis. Patients telling you really what's happening. Are they losing weight? Are they getting stronger? Are they more flexible? Are they in less pain? They spend more time, active time per day doing things. Can they carry a grocery bag now? Can they pick up their grandkids? Use patient self-reporting forms. If you are not certain where those are, contact us and we will link you up with those forms. Develop a menu of services and prices. We talked about that early on. That was part of the business plan step, actually. But develop that menu of services and prices. A patient super bill, that's basically your big receipt. If you're doing medical massage or holistic healthcare, that's going to look a lot like dental, or what comes from your dentist, your eye doctor, or your medical doctor, or your chiropractor. It's the same kind of thing. If you're confused about those and you want some more input on that, contact us again, and we'll direct you to samples or where you can order those. Okay. So your patient super bill. If patients have health savings accounts, or their corporation, their employer will reimburse them for things that they're doing that are wellness, holistic, fitness, personal training, medical massage, then you're going to need to give them a coherent bill, a receipt that says what you did so that they can be reimbursed. Or it may be for tax purposes for the IRS. So in many different ways, patient-client super bills are very important to have for your practice. Some of you, if you have a license or you're going to be licensed, it's actually mandated by state law that you must have patient care records or case notes. You must maintain those. So you can either have hard copy records or you can do practice management software. That's entirely up to you in terms of what you choose to do. Business equipment, once again, don't buy anything that you do not need. Don't buy anything and have it in your office if it's cheaper to use it otherwise. Now, in terms of equipment, most of our practices are pretty straightforward. A phone. And there is a question regarding landline or cell phone. I, for example, still have landline in my home. The reason for that is that in any kind of storm or anything that happens that's disruptive, cell service is one of the very first things to go out. And landlines still work usually. So that's why I do that. Just think about that one. Most people are totally 100% cell phones now. Fax, we really don't use separate fax machines anymore. Most all fax is sent via email. So that's simply having a computer or some means to be able to email, take a picture of something, send it to somebody. Your phone will even work, or a tablet will work, and a number of ways to do that. There are, of course, multi-units. I'm sitting right next to a fax machine. It's fax, copier, and printer. And those are pretty cheap. I think I paid 79, 80 some bucks for this thing. So that's one way to do it. I don't even use the fax feature anymore, though. So again, a copy machine, even a small one in the office, and that's a multi-unit copy, printer, fax kind of thing. And also, they used to come with phones. I don't know if they do anymore or not. But again, if you're not using a landline, you don't want that. So then a computer, for most people, it's probably a laptop, not necessarily a PC, a tablet, or your cell phone will work. If you're writing a lot and editing things, you're probably going to need to be on a laptop. I actually prefer being on a PC with a very large screen, just so I can see it. A lot easier on the eyes. Healthcare equipment and products. So the equipment that you need is determined by the services that are provided, and that started way, way back in this talk when we talked about the business plan. So when you know what you're going to do, then you know what you're going to need. Don't buy anything again unless you need it. Don't buy anything if you can use it elsewhere and use it for less money than it costs to buy it, because you're using up precious cash flow. Okay. Select your product providers based upon the best deals, quality, affordability, the best deals that you can get. I primarily purchase through Amazon Prime. Avoid fads and business gimmicks. Often they're just a waste of money. Again, in business, we want to budget and to conserve our cash flow as much as we possibly can. I see a typo in here, but don't buy what you can lease. So if you can lease something, then if you buy something, chances are you're paying for it up front unless you put it on a credit card, in which case you probably got a pretty high interest rate. That's a bad way to buy things. You get better interest rates on a lease. So for instance, I don't buy copy machines for the school. I lease the copy machine, get a good price on it. At the end of the lease, I can buy the machine if I want for $1, or I can let it go back and get a new one. It depends on the condition of the copy machine after a 3-year lease. So leasing is cheaper than using up your immediate cash flow or your savings to buy stuff right out. Once again, here we go. Maintain low overhead and maximum income. I reversed that this time. So low overhead and maximum income. Save your money, save your resources, save your savings, and cut your costs. So I think at this point, it's probably a good idea to take a break before we continue. So we're going to pause this program here. I'm actually going to click out of it because it's lunchtime. And I'll come back in a while, and I'll do part 2. And both of these are going to be posted on our Facebook education page, BHA e-learning, and also our BHA health and wellness page, so that all of our students are HHP people, AcuMyoTherapy people, our personal training people, our medical massage people, all of them will have access to this particular business talk. So thank you guys. I'll be back in a while and we will continue this.